They said I could play Xbox games on my phone. But I'm just not sure how to get this thing in here. Maybe like that? No? Maybe like this? I don't think that's it. Hey everybody, it's Chris from FamilyGeekery, and today we are going to be looking at this Razer Kishi. So this is obviously branded to play Xbox Game Pass on a Android type phone. So that's what we're going to be testing out. And let's take a look at the box. So right up front here it says Razer Kishi Universal Mobile Gaming Controller for Android. And like I said, it's very branded for the Xbox experience. I'm sure you can play more than just that on it. Let's look at the back here. Ergonomic design. Fits most Android devices. I guess most Android phones would be a better description. Clickable analog thumbsticks. Cloud gaming compatible. Ultra low latency gameplay. I'm guessing it plugs right in. Yep, Type-C charging port. So it's going to plug right into the Type-C connector, so you don't have to worry about using like Bluetooth. So let's open this thing up and see how it works. So this is the version 1. They didn't call it version 1, but now that there's a version 2 out, I guess they call this version 1. And this is on sale everywhere at Best Buy and Amazon for about half the price that it usually was, about half the price of the version 2. And for that price I got to try it out. There's a couple people that like the version 1 better than the version 2 because of the thumbsticks they like better, and also the more compact design. I think the version 2 is a little bit wider and it doesn't compact down, it doesn't fold down. So let's open this up and see what we got. To expand the controller, see reverse side for instructions. We always need instructions, don't we? So on the back there we got the instructions that say pull both of the release latches to expand the controller. Note to collapse. See the important product information guide included in the package. So we need instructions here to open it up, and instructions somewhere else to close it back down. So let's take these stickers off. Because I don't think it'll let us open that up with these stickers on here. They want to make sure you read all your instructions before you get gaming. Oh, there's a tab up here. Alright. Silly instruction stickers are gone. And this is a nice kind of, I wouldn't say super portable, but it does fold down enough. So let's hit both these latches like it said. Well, I'm hitting the latches. Oh, I see. And there it goes. So this little back plate here is kind of held in there, and it pops out when you hit those latches. So now it's apart. So yeah, these thumbsticks do feel good. I've seen the other type that have the kind of the almost like Joy-Con controller on them. So D-pad feels good. These joysticks feel good, and I'm sure the buttons are going to be a little bit clicky. Oh, the ABXYs are a little bit nicer. And it expands a little bit, I guess, depending on the size. So let's go ahead and put this down. I'm going to read the instructions real quick so I can see how to fold it back up, and I'll be right back. Alright, so read the instructions, and let's see if I can duplicate what they said to do. So to put it back together, it said you want to kind of push these back together, and if I can zoom in on that, if you can see the gray part there, you can see how it kind of comes in, and the gray's got to be over the black. It's really hard to see, but the gray has to be over the black. And then once it kind of fits together like this, then you just snap that back plate back together. So after doing it a couple times, you spread this apart, pop the back plate out, it opens up, and then putting it back together, kind of smush it together, push the back plate. So it becomes kind of intuitive after you do it a couple times. So there she is, all folded up. And like I said, the buttons don't feel too bad. I'll have to see once I get the phone in there how it feels as far as like ergonomics for big hands. But let's see how it works. Alright, so I've got here a Google Pixel 4 XL phone. This is not my daily driver phone. I've got an iPhone, but this is a phone that I picked up for super cheap on Marketplace, and it's got really nice specs, so I think it won't have any problems playing these type of games. So I've got it set in there. This is about as big a phone as you can get in there. It fit, I guess, top to bottom or width of the phone wise, just barely in there. I had a very thin case, very thin case, but it would not fit in the controller. So I took it out of the case, set it in. The back plate, I was a little concerned about the back plate having those pegs, touching up against the back of the phone. And I guess it will, as it's in your hands. It may tap the back of it, but I don't think it's going to do any damage. So that's what a Pixel 4 XL looks like in this Kishi controller. I guess the next step is to get some games going on it. Alright, so I've darkened the room a little bit to make the screen pick up a little bit better. I can promise you the screen looks a little bit better in real life than it does through the camera. But here is some Fable Anniversary, old school game, running right off of the Xbox Game Pass. And as you can see, if I didn't have a controller hooked up, look at all these icons around the screen. The on-screen display, I've got a D-pad, I've got my joystick, I've got like 17 different freaking buttons all over the place. There's no way you could play this on a screen like this. But as soon as I use the controller, then it knows to take that off the screen. And I think if I tap in the middle of the screen again, those come back up, just in case you need to remember which button does which. So it looks like the X button is my sword button. Or attack. So we are rolling around in this this game here with the Kishi controller. As far as ergonomics go, it's not too bad. It is a little uncomfortable right now because I am playing it in front of a camera. So this wouldn't be my normal sitting on a couch looking at it type thing. This game itself is probably not perfect because of all the text is very small, very hard to read on a small screen like this. But that's not the problem of the controller. That's just a problem of the game itself. Yeah, I'm not supposed to take a weapon out inside town. They don't like that. He's not even strong enough to wield this axe. What are you doing kidding around? But we've got D-pad. We've got this button here, which must be like my start button. Got the Xbox button. This must be the select button. We've got two L1, R1, L2, R2 back here. And we do have the clickable L3 and R3. So overall, not a bad controller. Definitely better than using the screen. Looks like we've got a charging port here to feed through to charge the phone, because I'm sure this will eat up some battery as we're playing. But let's try something else out. Alright, let's try out a game that may be a little better suited for a handheld mobile device. So we'll just go ahead and play arcade mode here, get right into a game. See if the D-pad works. Let's hold this to skip. Oh, we gotta start with Donatello, of course. Yeah, story. Who cares about that? This arcade mode. Come on, let's fight. jump attack. The D-pad does work. I think on this game this will be just as easy. Oh yeah, eat some bow staff, baby. Now this is more like it, so no tiny words to read. Just good old arcade action fun. Controls feel absolutely fine for this type of game. Now of course I'm not using like L1, R1, anything like that. So ergonomics wise this is no different than just using a joypad for an old school game. So I would say that this is good to go. I do like the joysticks, the concave button tops on the joysticks. Yeah, this is good to go. Let's try something else. Alright, so this is much different than the Xbox games we were just playing, but this is Pico 8. This is an Android app called P8Player. And right out of the box, it's identifying both buttons, and Pico 8 has 2 buttons and 4-way controller. So it looks like I can use, not the D-pad, but I can use the joystick for movement. And then X and Y take care of the 2 buttons, which would normally be 0 and X in Pico 8. So right out of the box, it's good to know that this works. Let's try something else. Alright, now it's switched over to the PlayStation Remote Play, and to do this on Android, I had to download an app called PSPlay, which everybody thinks is the best option for playing the PlayStation Remote Play options on your Android phone. It is a paid app, but from what I understand, it is well worth it versus the official Sony apps. So forgive me for not playing this game for a long time and not knowing what any of the controls do. But I'm just trying to feel out the controller here. And so far everything seems pretty good. I would say that the shoulder buttons may not be, if you had to use both the L1 and L2 at the same time, that may not be super ergonomic. You'd have to really contort your hands to do that. But if you're just using maybe just the L2 and R2 buttons and not the shoulder buttons, then I think that's completely doable with this controller. Luckily in this game you don't have to use all of them, but maybe for a racing game or something, if you're accelerating and braking and shifting, then that may be a problem. But this isn't too bad. The game itself is stuttering a little bit every now and then. That's not the problem with the controller. That's obviously the streaming problem. But it looks like, yeah, like right there, just kind of glitches out for a while. This is not what I would say is a good experience. I've never been a super fan of cloud gaming or streaming gaming, but I can see the use for it. From the little bit I've played so far, it looks like the Xbox has been a little bit more solid than this one. Of course, the Xbox was streaming right from the cloud services of Xbox, whereas this one is streaming from my PlayStation, which is just a couple feet away from me on a pretty fast Wi-Fi network, so I don't know why it's having problems, but maybe I'll test that out later. But as far as the controller goes, everything seems to work good with this PSPlay app. Let's try one more thing. Alright, look at what we got here. So this is obviously Sonic the Hedgehog. This is running in RetroArch, which is running right on this Android phone. And as soon as I plugged this in and started up RetroArch and started the game, it knew right away that this was a Razer Kishi. So it downloaded or it automatically knew what the controls were. So far everything has worked with this. Now this was a 3-button game and really only one real button. So everything's working pretty easy on this, but I imagine it would understand all these other buttons as well. So have a little RetroArch fun with your phone. Now I will say on a game like this that I'm using the D-pad because the joystick is not mapped in this game. I'm sure you could remap it, but as I'm pushing left and right here, I am feeling it feels like the phone is bending, but obviously the phone is not bending. It's just the how it catches onto the phone is got a little bit of play as I'm pushing like this, but it's not super distracting. So overall, if you wanted to play some Sonic on your phone, this would be much better than playing with the on-screen display, obviously. So I'm going to say this is pretty good. Alright, to sum it all up, like I said from the beginning, I'm not a huge fan of cloud gaming. Not a huge fan of mobile gaming on phones, but given the options of playing on the screen controls or with something like this, this is probably among the better devices I've played like this. Now obviously, now that everything is Bluetooth, you can take yourself a Xbox controller and sync it up and maybe use one of the clips and clip the phone up onto it, or you can just kind of let the phone sit on your lap or put it on a table and use your controller. That's fine. This kind of gives it that Nintendo Switch type feel where you've got your grip on the screen and the controller and everything all at once. And for what it's trying to do, it's absolutely working. We tried the Xbox game, we tried the PlayStation game, tried the little Retro Arch and even some Pico 8, and all of them did what they're supposed to do. As far as streaming quality from game to game, that's going to obviously depend on the service and your internet connection and all that good stuff. But as far as the controller itself having zero latency, just about, because it's using the USB-C connector and not using Bluetooth, then all of that was great. So that is going to wrap it up for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead and give me that thumbs up, give me a like. If you want to see more stuff like this, tell me down in the comments what kind of devices you want to see tested out. And if you want to see more, make sure you don't miss a single video by hitting that subscribe button. And other than that, as always, thanks for watching, peace out, and geek out.